Zahara, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for availing yourselves. Now, just speaking about the way in which we document the life of Madiba, music was one of the most profound ways. I know you were there with your poetry at the time, your written and spoken word. Tell us a bit about that journey and how he influenced you as an artist.
Well, even words cannot express exactly how one would interpret the situation. But as African people, we sang, even under slavery, people sang. That is why you have songs for war, songs for music, songs for weddings, songs for funerals. The slaves were kept abreast and their faith was there. They kept on singing, knowing that one day the chains were going to break. And same as applies to us. We knew that as we continue to sing songs that jacked up the hope that those who were incarcerated were going to in some day come out of prison. And that is exactly what happened. We sang about Madiba. People sang about Madiba not knowing him and until he came out and they saw him. So we continue to sing. We shall sing the songs of Madiba from now to eternity.
Zahara,
yes.
Many times people look at this generation and they say this is the lost generations. Asafani no Mandela and the people who were there at the time, we are not like those people. We're singing about futile things. And there you are as a young South African singing songs of Madiba, singing songs of tradition and our culture. How has Madiba impacted you as an artist?
Oh my gosh. Ndikhule kakade family abantu abaculayo. Utata Mandela was one of the people who obviously was bendimncinci mina, so ikhahle nje ukucula ingoma, and that time I didn't understand, and all about utata and the people abasincedileyo to fight for us. Ndikhumbula utata zange ndimbone last year when I went to visit him eQunu, because he had requested for me to come and see him eQunu after Loliwe, I released my album Loliwe, and kunengoma phayethi Take One that I dedicated for utata, because ndinalento ukuthi uyazi namhlanje siyakwazi ucula, siyakwazi uhamba zonke stage because of what utata ayenzileyo, because of leya 27 years ayihlelileyo wahlalela abantu abafana nathi, abanye bethu besingekazalwa mara sisizalwa sazalwa namhlanje siyakwazi you can go anywhere in the world, and once
Indeed.
Yes.
In fact, talking a bit about that culture and the past and the history, we're going to cut straight to Cape Town now. Something happening there in the mother city. We're going to take visuals as we see now. This is a procession where wreaths are being laid. We're going to go to my colleague Lukhanyo Chalata.
The Speaker of Parliament, Max Sisulu, and the Chair of the National Council of Provinces have just finished laying flowers at the Flame of Memorial that is here in Parliament, that obviously honors the all fallen heroes in South Africa, including now former President Nelson Mandela. All right. We would then like to come in here and see if we can get interviews with him. They're just busy allowing some of the senior parliamentary officials to each place a flower in front of the flame of remembrance for former President Nelson Mandela. It is obviously quite somber here in Parliament today, where all the staff are paying their own tribute to former President Nelson Mandela. Some of the things that have also been happening in Parliament today is that some of the visitors have been able to write down their messages of support on books of condolences, on a memorial wall that has been created there to allow the people to express their messages and their sentiments and allow those messages to be captured forever in South Africa's history, to be captured forever in the memory of former President Nelson Mandela. After this process, we are hoping to secure interviews with the two presiding officers of Parliament, Mr. Max Sisulu and Mninwa Mahlangu. The procession is still going on here, allowing members of Parliament to have their moment to say goodbye and thank you to Tata Madiba. I must say that this is the very first time that I've ever experienced such emotions. And of everybody is very somber, very appreciative. Let's set up other interviews. This is the flame of remembrance that that burns here every day in honor of all struggle heroes that have died in South Africa, in honor of all men and women that have died in all wars that South Africa has ever been involved in, from the First, Second World War, the Anglo-Boer War, any war that has taken place within the borders of South Africa, and sometimes even outside, where South Africans had fallen in wars. This flame burns here to remember them. Yeah.
No, you can walk through and go to the loo.
In a few moments, we are hoping to speak to the two presiding officers of Parliament. We must do it here, we must do it here. Hi, good morning. Good morning, gentlemen. We are now joined by the Speaker of Parliament of the National Assembly, as well as the Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, Mr. Mninwa Mahlangu and Mr. Max Sisulu. Sir, if I could start with you, this day, just the significance of it from the National Council of Provinces.
Well, this day is very significant to us. It's a day in which the nation of South Africa, the continent of Africa as a whole, international communities are mourning. The country has lost a leader. The country has lost a democrat. The country has lost a father. The father who used to guide us during his time. We are also, as we are sad and mourning, but also celebrating for the wonderful work that he has done and for the wonderful teachings that he has taught us, for all what he stood for. As you all know, that he taught us that he will stand for human rights, that he will stand for the rule of law, that he will stand for a just country, and that all people are equal before the law and they must be treated as such. The icon has gone to rest, but the legacy remains and the icon lives. Therefore, that is very important to us as a National Council of Provinces, and we are mourning together with the family and the rest of the citizenry of the country.
If I may move to you, Speaker, is this day so far, is it what you as the National Assembly had planned? Is it coming the way that the Assembly had planned for it too?
Yes, the presiding officers called for the special sitting of Parliament
to do two things. One, to pay tribute to an outstanding hero of our struggle, a father of the nation, Tata Mandela, and also to acknowledge the work that he has done and the legacy that he leaves behind. In calling for the special sitting, we believe it will give an opportunity for Parliament as a third arm of state to express its views on the Madiba legacy, but also gives members of Parliament and the political parties an opportunity also to have their say in regard to laying to rest of Madiba. Madiba, of course, is now gone, but Madiba will never be forgotten because his work lives on after him. We are what we are today, a free nation, because of people like Madiba and his colleagues who worked tirelessly for this freedom. And also because they fought for freedom, they were kept in prison as prisoners. The symbolism of this day is also to say that Madiba moved from a prisoner to president of this country. It's an outstanding achievement, but it was an achievement that was as a result of the struggle of the people of this country, supported by the Democrats and people of the world all over, to make sure that this day of freedom will always be a day when the sun continues to shine on all of us. Symbolically, all parliaments are also having some sittings to pass resolutions of solidarity with the people of South Africa at this hour. And also, interesting enough, the Parliament of the United Kingdom is sitting exactly as we'll be sitting from 2 o'clock to also pass resolution and debate on the legacy of Madiba. So yes, it is an important day for us. It is an important day for South Africans because we're laying to rest one of our greatest sons, Nelson Mandela.
So if I may ask, how does the National Assembly then contribute towards keeping former President Nelson Mandela's legacy alive?
Well, in the laws we pass, the laws must be as good as the people of the country are. The laws must reflect the vision of people like Nelson Mandela. The laws must contribute towards improving the quality of life of the ordinary citizen. The laws must be such that every South African will be proud of the laws that we pass. So as a National Assembly, it's important for us as an important part of Parliament to be able to be proud of this legacy. How do we keep the legacy alive? By doing exactly what Madiba asked us to do. Be good citizens. Remember that they are out there, there are people who look up to Parliament to assist them in things like a decent life for all, jobs and housing and all the rest.
So if I could pose that same question to you from the National Council of Provinces, what does the council do specifically to keep former President Nelson Mandela's legacy alive?
Well, the council to keep the legacy of the former president alive, the important thing is to make sure that all the things that he fought for and that he taught us, as I've said at the beginning, are implemented. That's the most important. Therefore, our oversight function becomes more important, as the Speaker has already said, that all those laws that we have passed as both houses, we make sure that they are implemented on the ground to make the lives of our people better, because that's the only way we can do. If we don't do that, then we shall have failed the citizens of our countries, and that's not the aim, and the aim is to make them much, much more better every day. Therefore, implementation is the name of the game, whether it's policies changed into laws that we have passed, whether it's service deliveries, anything, public participation, we've got to get the country involved, our citizens involved in those. Therefore, that plays a very important part of our work as members of Parliament, because this is a participatory democracy. Therefore, if it's a participatory democracy, its citizens must participate in a parliament of the people. This is the parliament of the people. It's not our parliament. We're here to represent them. Therefore, they've got to be involved in whatever we are doing.
And then just finally, sir, if I could pose my last question to you. This was primarily a function for the staff of Parliament, for them to be able to pay a tribute to former President Nelson Mandela. This afternoon, with the people that will also be coming, what can they expect?
I think the importance of this function is because members of parliament and staff members of parliament remember Madiba fondly. In a sense, all of us with tears in our eyes, we remember the great Madiba, the good that he has done for our country. And we are here to say that he will not be forgotten, and the best way of remembering Madiba is to do exactly what Madiba asks us to do. Make sure that the poor people are not forgotten, make sure that the homeless have homes, the hungry are fed, and that is the symbolism of this day. So staff and members of parliament, all united in grief, are all committed to making a change and make sure that a better life for our people happens now.
We thank the presiding officers of Parliament. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time and for allowing us to be a part of this day and to be able to broadcast this to the nation, for them to also feel part. Thank you for your time. And those were the two presiding officers of Parliament, Mr. Mninwa Mahlangu, who is the chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, as well as Mr. Max Sisulu, who is the Speaker of the National Assembly, talking to us just about internationally what is happening. Mr. Max Sisulu told us that the British Parliament, or at least the English Parliament, is sitting at 2 o'clock this afternoon, exactly the same time that our Parliament is sitting in tribute to former President Nelson Mandela. Now, I'm sure if you were with us all this time, you would have seen a little bit earlier on where the presiding officers of Parliament and some of the parliamentary staff and some of the senior officials of Parliament had placed flowers in front of the picture behind me of former President Nelson Mandela. Activities are going to continue here. Right now, visitors will be able to sign some of the condolence books that are available. There's 16 of them that are available all around the precinct. They will be able to write in their messages of support to the family. They'll be able to write their messages in history, because Parliament will archive the 16 condolence books that are here. So those will be kept forever. There's also a wall of remembrance that people can write their messages on, and they'll be able to, those messages will also be kept and will remain alive in this day. At 12:30, the hundreds of people that have actually started gathering here will be seated, most of them, to then allow time for the presiding officers to start preparing for the special sitting of Parliament that is expected to start at 2 o'clock. We hope to across to you a little bit later on this morning and to bring you a little bit more of some of the activities that are taking place in Parliament today. But for now, let's cross you back over to our studio in Johannesburg.
Kanyo, my thanks to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, the proceedings there in the Western Cape, just one of many that will be taking place throughout the country.